6 o'clock. Then I gotta wait till 8 o'clock. I gotta order me some food. Y'all gonna have to. Oh no.
Hey y'all.
Hello, hello. Good to see ya.
Good evening, everyone.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going?
Pretty good on my end. Busy.
We're gonna give everybody a couple more minutes to get on, and we're gonna get started shortly. Meanwhile, if you aren't already, make sure you guys blow up the chat, post your websites, post your social medias, and post where you're listening in from. All right, all right, all right. I appreciate you guys for hopping on today. Here's another win day. Shout out to Mr. Fix It for giving us that great title. Every single win that we actually get on, and it's all about creating generational wealth, and sharing knowledge. Coming together and networking. Most of us on here is entrepreneurs. And in this climate, it's all about building community. And that's what our brainstorming sessions is all about. That's what our mob community is all about: building community, sharing knowledge, each one teach one at the end of the day. So I appreciate you guys for hopping on. Some of you guys are on every single week. I appreciate our members, our affiliates, our mentors, our advisors. So every single week we like to switch it up. We like to, touch on different topics. But we always like to kick it off with our icebreaker. So real quick, without no further ado, I definitely want to start off with our icebreaker for the day, which is icebreaker question for the day is: if you could have any superpower to help your business. Hold on, I think we did that last.
I remember that one.
All right. Okay. 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 So, what's the most absurd customer request or complaint you've ever received, and how did you handle it? So that'll be the icebreaker question for today. Again, what is the most absurd customer request or complaint you've ever received, and how did you handle it? Wow. Let me pull up my list. Is it in alphabetical order today? Yep, 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 yep. Miss Angeline, how's it going? How's it going?
Oh, it is going great for Angeline today.
Bless, bless, bless. So, what's the most absurd customer request or complaint you've ever received, and how did you handle it?
I'm trying to think because I teach individuals and it's sort of hard for me to see something absurd that they would ask of me that I could ask and not give a, a proper answer.
Right, right.
So I don't, because they are always basically listening to me other than me giving them something, because even the price that I charge for my services, I work with them for wherever they are
Okay.
instead of, I have a base price, but if they can't reach that, then I assist them with getting there. So no one has ever, like, well, your price is too high. Can I have it for free? No one has ever said anything like that to me,
Okay.
because I will work with my clients. So I don't know of anything absurd that they really asked. I do work with people in the investment industry in real estate, and I don't even see anything absurd there because, when you're selling money, you're selling money and you're
Right.
willing to work with people. So I don't, I can't think of anything absurd that anybody might have said to me. Well, maybe in the political realm, they always ask that question, why are you running, as though you have absolutely no qualifications
Right.
for even being in the political field. But that's about as absurd as anything has gotten as far as me being in the business industry.
That's a good one. 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 And I think we're gonna be talking about that next week as well. Touching on that. I can't wait for our panel.
That's going to be awesome.
Most definitely, most definitely. I appreciate you, Queen. CC, how's it going? How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Bless, bless, bless. So, what's the most absurd customer request or complaint you've ever received? Now, how did you handle
I think the most absurd thing someone's asking me to do or something to create was to make their penis grow.
it?
Are there herbs out there to enhance that area? And I just kind of like laugh it off in like a little joking manner and just saying I don't think I'm able to assist you with that. Is nothing that I know of personally. That's out of my realm.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I appreciate you, Queen, for sure.
All right.
Who we got? Who we got? Jay, what's going on?
Everybody. What's up, everybody? Hey.
What's going on?
I'm gonna need to hear the question one more time because are you asking what absurd things we were asked, or are you asking like has anybody made like a complaint or anything like
So,
that?
so the icebreaker question is what's the most absurd customer request or complaint you've ever received, and how did you handle it?
I never really received a complaint like that. The only thing close to a complaint are like commissions to remake something that I've made that might have broke if they had it for a minute, or something happened and it might have broken and they just commissioned me to remake it or something. I guess, actually, no, I have received a complaint. I have received one complaint in my line of business, and that was when I was first starting out, and I ordered some copper from somewhere. I don't even remember where. And I thought it was real copper, but it wasn't, because someone came to me and they said that the copper thing that I made them, it turned green. So then I had to do some little research or whatever. And I was like, turns out it's not real copper. So I had to go and find a real source of copper and apologize and fix that whole situation. So I guess that's one thing that happened that was considered a complaint. So yeah.
Hey, lessons learned.
Yep, lessons be learning.
Gotta keep growing. We gotta keep growing. I love it. I appreciate you. Dr. Jessica.
Hello, everyone. Well, in my line of so many work jobs that I have, I probably had numerous complaints, especially over the 45 or plus years that I have been doing business. So I would say no matter what complaint may come, you just work with the customer
Yeah.
until it's resolved, because you'll have some complaints in your lifetime of a business. You will get complaints. It may be just as simple as my order was late, or how come I didn't get that grant?
Right. Most definitely.
And so you just have to work with the customer and until the situation is resolved.
Most definitely. I appreciate you, Queen, for sure. Real quick, I wanna get into give you guys a chance to introduce what you do, and then talk about a project that you're working on this week. Um, and maybe we can come up with a solution on how we can come together, or what challenges you may be having with that particular project. So I want to start off with Miss Angela. If you can introduce yourself real quick and talk about a project that you're working on and some of the challenges that you're having with that project.
Okay, awesome. I am definitely working on two separate projects. The one in my community is what we call gap housing. Being the president of the South Fulton Human Services Coalition, we found out about a year ago that there's an issue between the police officers who have to follow the law, which is the loitering laws, and then the bureaucracy, the homeless task force that deals with going out and contacting the people who are unsheltered on our streets and trying to provide some services for them. And that gap was the bureaucracies work from 9 to 5. Very hard to get anyone on the telephone to try to find out what services and when their services are available. And the police officers are 24/7. So they're encountering these people after 5 o'clock and have nowhere to put them. So we have decided that as an organization, we could provide what's called temporary housing, which we call gap housing, which would allow the police officers, when they encounter people, to come and put those individuals into the shelter that we have provided. And the social workers can come to that facility because now their people are no longer violating the loitering laws, and they can find the individuals after they encounter them because now they're not being moved because of the loitering laws. So now this would allow the individuals to have time to get their birth certificates, their social security cards, and documents that they need to move into the places we call transitional housing, because without those things, they cannot even move towards being sheltered temporarily and then move them into the housing situation. So right now we're at the point where we have 0.9 acres of land that we can purchase for 500K. We are working with one of the M.O.B members to get the investor to invest in that property so that we can secure the property. We're talking with the mayor of that city, Union City, to ensure that whatever funding they have available to assist us as a nonprofit to operate that facility, that they make those available for them. We finally, after 4 months, have gotten an appointment for September 5th. And now we're looking for other partners to come in and assist us because while we're waiting for this to happen, we're looking to do some mobile showers, hot food, and also fruits and vegetables that individuals can take with them along with a change of clothing on a weekly basis at a place that's not far down from where we are. So partners to come in and work with us to make sure that this project goes over well, that it's received well by the community, so that we're able to do this. That's why we're doing the mobile showers before we get the building erected and functional, so that people will be used to, like, well, there's someone assisting them. They're not just walking around. They're not just here. They have a future of becoming a homeowner instead of just continuously being homeless and unsheltered, because we do have a homeless crisis right now in the South Fulton area. So that is the one project. So we're looking for exposure for that. And of course, being a presidential nominee in this election, we had to find another way to get exposure due to the shadow banding of the mainstream media, and they making it make us conceive to believe that there's only two choices for us to choose from when there are many others for us to choose for our presidential elect. So we've decided to go another way and utilize our podcasters and move that algorithm so that people can see that they have different choices, so they can hear the different candidates. Because when you go into that ballot box, you're not going to see two candidates. You're going to see all the candidates that are running for offices in the 2024 election, but you're not going to know who they are because you didn't get to hear from them. So we refuse to let that sit, and we're going to make sure that citizens have an opportunity to hear what's going on. We're even doing virtual door knocking and also virtual porch parties so that you can bring people into your home, sit down, and vet and speak with candidates that you want to hear more about. And we're just looking for exposure.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We doing it. I appreciate you, Queen, for sure. I can't wait till next week. Real quick, I wanna bring up a special guest to touch on a very important topic that we all been talking about for probably months or years, um, which is, grant opportunities. And I definitely want to take the enough time to kind of um I had a few questions that I wanted to ask, but I wanted to give um, Dr. Jessica a chance to first introduce herself and talk about some of the things that she's working on. But one, I want to definitely thank and let you know, Dr. Jessica, that we really appreciate you just hopping on and taking out your time to just share this knowledge, because we definitely need it, as a community. So if you can just introduce yourself real quick, and then kind of go into maybe we can kind of go into a dialogue on those opportunities that we have.
Okay, sure. Again, hello, my name is Dr. Jessica Madden, and thank you for inviting me, my daughter Carolyn and granddaughter Jasmine. And just thank each and every one of you for coming on, those that are here. And my background is in education, and however, I do consult and about grant writing and, of course, business plans. So I'm just going to, I know my time is a little limited, so I'm going to jump right in if that's okay, um, Mr. Host. So I'm going to share my screen if it'll allow me to share it. Let me know if.
1 second.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so try to get it going here. Okay, so I'm going to just talk a little bit about money and more money because that's what we all want for our businesses, money, right? So, what things that you should know about grants, and which is very, very important because out there and it. Okay, I'm at a different computer, so my little control things are actually kind of crazy. Okay, so I'm going to just hit on a few points today um, with my introduction. I'm going to talk about these grant writer, grant seeking, the research. Tell your story, take the eye out, financial reporting, the application process, the interview process, awarded the grant, and the quarterly reporting. So again, as I said, my name is Dr. Jessica Madden. My background is in education for over 30 years. I have also owned several businesses, have had several business licenses, and have written plenty of business plans. So right now, I am really trying to promote more of the grant writing and the business writing part of my business in this lifetime. And a grant writer, these are some things you should know. So I'm going to get into like some tips on things you should know when you're thinking about a grant. So the thing to know is that when selecting a grant writer, okay, you want to make sure that you have provided them with your business plan. That's really important because your grant writer needs to understand your mission and your vision. And in turn, it gives them a sense of direction on how to write an award-winning grant for you. A lot of times we go on the internet and we go to Fiverr, something other, I can't remember that website, and you try to find you a grant writer and they charge you a whole lot of money, but they have not read your business plan. They don't even know anything about your mission or your vision. And so it is really hard to write a grant unless you have really a good understanding and have built a relationship, first of all, with the business owner. So grant seeking, when seeking a grant, make sure that you meet the criteria and qualifications. So you have to make sure that you have a project pitch that's straight to the point. Sometimes we'll be looking for grants, especially on grants.gov, and we're trying to find a grant and we just start applying for grants, right? And you get frustrated because you didn't get that grant and you're like, man, how come I didn't get that Verizon grant? Because Verizon is all about digital. So if you're um, in agriculture, why would you apply for a Verizon grant when that doesn't even meet the criteria? So in order to stop getting frustrated about, I didn't get that grant, how come I didn't get that grant? So you want to make sure that you meet the criteria for that grant, and every grant has its own criteria for you to meet. And it is always in the directions of completing the grant application. So I know one group, like I said, grants.gov is great. Verizon has wonderful grant opportunities. So does Hello Alice, especially if you are a woman in business. Um, they support you 100%. So, and they do give out nice grants as well. So those are some things you can do, but I always start with grants.gov because they have the best, more selection, you know, and you would probably find at least one. I mean, it takes a minute, but you will find something. Then it goes into the research. So a grant writer is willing to put the time in to research the various companies and avenues to find a grant that meets your need and to make sure that you meet the requirements. So that's what your grant writer does. The grant writer researches all of these grant opportunities for you to find a match. So this process takes time, but when the correct grant is found, now this is the key. You have to be ready to take immediate action on it and submitting the application before the deadline, because once that deadline comes, that's it. Okay, um, there's no going back saying, oh, I forgot, I missed my deadline. No, there's no going back. Once you miss that deadline, that's it. So as your grant writer is communicating with you throughout the whole process of the research and getting back with you, it's like a back and forth thing. And finally, the grant writer says, I found the perfect grant for you. And then you're not ready for it because you're not ready to pay that grant writer to go ahead and start writing that grant for you. Then the opportunity passes and you lose out on the opportunity to even apply for the grant. So you have to be ready um, to um, to move immediately on those grants. The one good thing about the funders is that a funder wants to hear your story, okay, about your business, your passion, okay? That's important. What makes you passionate about your business? That's what they want to know. And when they're reading your narrative, they can see your passion. They can feel your passion right in your narrative. Okay, so don't try to pull a wool over their eyes or anything because they can see right through that. I'm telling you, these committees that sit down and read these narratives, they can feel your passion about your business. So they want to know what project are you seeking money to fund, and that was going to help build your overall business. So say your business is shipping out packages and you want just uniforms for to support your employees. So you're going to find a grant that you're going to just for support of employees. Okay, I want to buy them uniforms. I want us to be united. I want us to feel united. Okay, that's what you're going to go after. Okay, you're not going after the grant for the whole business because it's kind of hard to find a grant to fund your whole business, but you can find a grant to support different projects within your business. And that's where you really want to focus on. So, and the other thing about that is that there are funders out there that will be glad to just fund you just whatever little project you think there might be little minute project for you, but it may be something big for that funder, and that may be what they were looking for all the time to put their money towards. The other thing is to remember, and I get this all the time, funders will not give you money to boost your career as a motivational speaker. So many times you talk about what kind of crazy things happen during your business or whatever. So many times it's like, no, they are not going to fund you as a motivational speaker. That is not what they do. I have not came across not one funder that will fund you as a career and a motivational speaker, as a motivational speaker.
Can I ask
So,
you a question real quick?
mhm.
What about workshops? Can you speak on like do you what's your feedback on getting
your
work?
your workshop can be included in as as your business, say you want to do a workshop, parental guidance workshop, just for instance, say you have a business and your business is in education. So yes, you can apply for a grant for that. But for you to go on stage and to promote yourself, it's hard to find a grant for that. So, but when they look at your website, and yes, you need a website, they are,
Say that again.
I said, when they look at your website, yes, you need a website. So those of you who don't have a website, you need to get one up because that's what they go to. They're not interested in you as a person. Okay. They're interested in you as the face of the company, and the company is the forefront. So your employees working with you is a great picture to put on the website. Here are some examples of some of the websites. They're not promoting themselves, they're promoting the company. And that's what we have to remember on our websites when we're seeking grants. The projects that has the community support. So you take the I out. It's not about you anymore. Okay. It's not about you. Take the I out. The funders don't care about you personally. They want to know what's good for the company, how are you promoting in the community. Um, so what are you doing for the people? And that's what they can see. They see that on your website. Okay, they can see that you're all about the community. They can see that because guess what? The majority of the pictures, you're not on there. It's your project, your products, your community, community involvement, your events. It's not just you on the stage promoting yourself. And they can see that. And that's what they want to see. They want to see that you are out there promoting your company and the product. That's what they want. So this is a good time for you to revamp and revise your website. If your website is not focusing on the community involvement, your events that you've been having, um, things like that. So that's what they want to see when they're looking at your website, because that's all a part of determining whether you get funded or not. And then there's the financial documents. Okay, most funders are looking for 3 cycles of financial data when applying for a grant. So it could be 3 months of data, it can be 3 quarters of data, 3 years of data. They just want to see 3 cycles. And they want to see that your business is thriving and meeting the needs of your vision and your mission. So keeping financial documents that's so important when applying for a grant, because they will ask that in the application about your financial gains. And that's what they want to see. Is it thriving? Are you moving forward? So what happened here? You didn't do any work? Well, was that important for your business? You know, they want to make sure that you're taking stock in your business. So you should have something going on where you're building income, having some financial gain throughout every cycle. And then there's the application process. Okay, that most funders today, they're not looking for long drawn out reports. I can tell you that right now. They are not. Most people think, oh, I'm going to apply for this grant. I've got to send in my 30-page business plan. They do not want to read all of that information. I'm going to tell you right now. It's good that you have that 30-page business plan in a nice book, but it's better because you're going to need that information to plug into their short version of the application because it is short. They are looking for concise wording, and it's basically on an online document that they only allow for like a certain amount of words or characters. And I even put an example of one that I recently did for a customer. And this is just the narrative part. They give you the rest of it is just regular demographic parts, you know, your name, address, just all the information, personal information, demographics. But the meat of the application comes in the middle. Okay, questions 46, 47, 48, like on this one. They ask you more about, tell us more about you. What inspired you to become a business owner, and what's motivating you to apply for the American Dream Awards? Because that was the name of the awards. Then get this. They only want a maximum of 300 words, which is like 2,000 characters. No more than that, because they won't accept it in the fill-in part. I have submitted many applications, and they all are pretty much like this. Okay, so your grant writer is communicating with you. Your grant writer can pull this information from your business plan and write the narrative up. That's what I do. So, so that's why it's important to collaborate and have that collaboration with each other, because so that you understand the mission, the vision. I would look at your business plan and I can answer that question because it's in your business plan. What inspired you to become a business owner and what's motivating you? I can get that information from your business plan. The other one, in which category, and this was part of this part, but it's these, like I'm telling you, these three questions are the main questions in almost every application. Okay. The other one, in what way would being honored with an award influence your business? And what kind of inspiration would it provide? Again, maximum 300 words. I have not came across a grant that was more than 300 words to answer a question in a narrative form. So you just have to know and the thing about it is that you have to be able to know what words that's going to grab that attention for that reader, and you have to be able to provide the strongest project pitch that you can. And that's what your grant writer does. And your grant writer will not submit it without going over the whole application with you. Because guess what? If you say, oh, just go ahead and submit that application, and this has happened to me before, just go ahead and submit that application. And then the application is submitted. And then the next process is the interview process. And guess what? They're calling you after you've been selected. Then the funders want to schedule a Zoom call with you and your team. And it's basically to meet you and to make the announcement. But they're going to have some questions about your application. Going to answer the questions that I wrote for you as the grant writer. So they can see all the way through that. They can see that you haven't prepared for it. You didn't even know anything really about it, the questions that were being asked or anything. You didn't know anything about it. And so they may at the end of that conversation say, you know what, let us get back with you. We're going to look at some of our other applicants. And then you know right then you messed up somewhere. So whatever grant writer you use, make sure you go over that whole application, all of those responses, that narrative, especially so that you will know what was said. So when you get that call saying that you got that grant, you want to be ready to celebrate with that company. And then after you awarded the grant, now after the grant has been awarded, you will need to immediately develop a plan of usage and how you're going to show evidence that you used the money for the intentions that it was awarded for. Okay, I have seen grant money getting taken away from people because they did not use it in what it was intended for. Okay, so whatever you said you were using that money for in that application, That's what you're going to have to use that money for. So you cannot go out and buy a car just because you got a $20,000 grant talking about this for the business. But you didn't put it in your business plan that you were going to buy that car for the business. And you could buy a car for the business. I've seen that happen plenty of times because they use that vehicle to go pick up the senior citizens and things like that, right? So I've seen that happen where you can buy a car with your grant money for the business. But you just have to make sure that you keep good record keeping. That's important. That's the part. So the money that you get from your grant, you have to make sure that you are keeping good records. Okay. And then there's the quarterly reporting. Okay. Now it's good practice to prepare a quarterly report because they will ask you for the report because they want to see how their money is spent. Okay, they've given you this $20,000, $50,000 grant, and they want to know, okay, how is this money being spent? Make sure you're taking pictures, make sure you're documenting things. If you having it for workshops or whatever, make sure you have agendas that you had those workshops, you have pictures showing, you have the speaker contract, all of that. Okay, all of that is the evidence. Keep it in a folder, upload it, keep it on your computer so that when it's time to come to present that quarterly report, that you have the documentation that you need to support and back up that money that you spent. So, and then of course you will have annual reports as well. And if you kept good quarterly reports, then your annual report will just be a breeze. Now, sometimes your grant writer will help you with setting up your reporting documents. And then there's always a final closeout report at the end for your funders. So at the end of your grant, say if you have a 3-year grant, every year you got $20,000, you know you have to account for that $60,000 at the end of that grant when they're not funding it anymore. Okay. So those are just some tips, some information that will help you out while you're looking for a grant writer. I am available as a grant writer. I can be reached at 678-857-6492, or you can email me at drjessicamadden@gmail.com. Just know that it is a process. It is a process. You just can't just expect that your grant writer is going to have a grant for you tomorrow. It doesn't work like that, but there is a process to go through in order to find grants. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. So real quick, I want to take the next 14 minutes, almost 15, to do a little Q&A if you have time. One of the first questions I have real quick is it specific grants that you specialize in?
No, I've done both for profit and nonprofit. So I have done both types of grants.
So,
but federal and non-federal, it just, I mean, written grants for education purposes, for church, definitely church purposes, daycare centers. So I've written several grants.
I love it. I love it. So how do you research and identify suitable grant opportunities?
Like I said, you want to go to grants.gov is one. And then sometimes once you get into like different groups, you know how you have Facebook groups, right? So you get into different groups, grant writing groups, and they'll start posting different grants that's available. Like, oh, it's coming, a grant, you're gonna know when TikTok comes. You're gonna know, you'll know these things just getting in those groups.
Most definitely, most definitely. So what is your typical timeline for completing the grant proposal?
That depends on the deadline for that grant. So typically I try to look for grants that will at least give us 3 to 6 months to apply before the deadline. But sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. Sometimes I have to push out a grant within 30 days. I've done it. It's a lot of work, but I've done it. So if I find a grant and I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize this grant was due like at the end of the month, let me call you and let you know that, okay, you want to go for this grant because I'm looking at it now and it fits you just right, you know. And but guess what? It's due on September 30th. And today is August 7th. You know, we can do it. We can get it done and we'll push it out and within that time. I mean, it just depends on the deadline.
Makes sense. So what's your fee structure for grant writing services? And are there additional costs associated with the grant writing process?
It depends on really how you want to use my service. I put it that way. So some people just want me to just research them a grant. Okay, research me some grants. And I'll say, okay, I'll research you some grants. It's going to probably cost you about $400 a month. And I'll research probably, I don't know, 10, 20 grants because you have to read through them and you have to, you know, it takes time. So you have to read through them. So basically about $400 a month. I don't try to break the business, you know. Then after that, they may say, well, I want you to research my grant. I want you to write my grant. I want you to um, I want you to do everything from beginning to end. Okay, that might be $2,500 because they want me to do their quarterly reports. They want me to set up everything for them, right? And then they want me to monitor their grant over the years of the grant. Okay, so they put at that point I tell them, look, you cannot afford me like that. You got to put me on pay. You guys to put me on payroll. It'll be cheaper for you to put me on payroll and give
Right.
me a monthly salary than it
Right.
is for me to charge you consulting fee every month. That's too much. So so yeah, so I try to meet your needs,
So,
meet you where you're at.
so that actually leads me to my next question. What do you feel like, or what's your feedback on uh, hiring certain vendors once you get the grant money? Because to be transparent, that's
Not once you get the grant money. You got to put it in the grant.
right. Okay, right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
and that's something we already got our vendors
Mm-hmm.
are selected, outlines and different things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a great um, that's a great point.
Yeah,
But so okay, so you basically answered my question. So as long as we put it in beforehand and
yeah.
let it be
You can put
known,
it on. You can put it under your operating costs.
okay, all right,
Mm-hmm.
perfect. So what steps, and this is probably my last question, what steps do you take if a grant proposal is not successful?
You have to revise it. Sometimes you can reach out to the funder and the person you submitted the grant to,
Mhm.
and they'll tell you, you know, well, your proposal wasn't accepted because of this reason. And then you'll revise it because guess what? They're going to have a round two.
Right,
And just because you didn't make round one, then you can still submit that revised proposal for round two. Okay. Usually a company, a funder may have 3 or 4 rounds of money to give away.
right.
Okay. And so they're giving out these monies in rounds. So you didn't get round one, you wondering why, what happened, then you revise it and then you go to round two. Sometimes it's because you just never submitted to them before in the past and they'll decline you just for that reason.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I got Cece that raised her hand. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Okay, I have a quick question. Is it easier to get um
grants for 501c3s or for profit?
It depends. There's both kinds out there. Some only cater want to give money to 501c3s, and some only want to give money to nonprofit. So it just depends on the person, on the grant, the funder. You
So,
look for both. That's what you do. You look for both.
okay,
Okay.
definitely, most definitely. I want to get, I know Miss Angela just raised her hand. Can you go ahead and unmute yourself?
Yes, I have a question in reference to the hiring and writing of grant writers for nonprofits who are just getting started or just getting in their 501c3. Is it possible that a grant writer can write themselves into the grant as an advisor?
No, it's not legal. It's not legal. You cannot write yourself in as to get money from a grant. They don't even allow you to do that. I don't know anybody that would do that ethically, but no. Now the company can pay that grant writer as a consultant fee or salary, but you can't write that salary in the grant.
Okay, so that your advice would be for the nonprofit to pay the grant
That's
writer as a
that's what they
consultant?
do me. That's what they do for me. Yeah.
And what would you advise the nonprofit to do to raise money to be able to pay a grant writer?
Well, they have fundraisers. I mean, I don't know exactly how they pay me, but but they have fundraisers, the dinner, whatever they do to raise money. They just know that they need a certain amount to pay a grant writer if they want to if they want that grant writer to seek funds for them. But a grant writer would never be written into your grant for money.
So
Excellent.
what,
Thank
And usually they do like it depends on the organization. Okay, a grant writer may say, okay, then since you're applying for a grant for this amount of money, I'm only going to charge you 1% or 2%, no more than 3%. Um, I don't know of a grant writer that might charge more than 3% of the grant. So yeah, be careful with that part of it when it comes to paying out like that.
Oh, good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
that was a great question. Is there any other vendors or companies that you cannot hire or include in the grant?
Say that again. You were breaking up a little bit.
Is there any other vendors or companies that you cannot include in the grant?
Well, it depends on the grant, the directions, the instructions that's in the grant. It tells you specifically. So if say if it's an educational grant, it'll tell you you cannot include anything with alcohol. You cannot include anything with tobacco. It'll tell you exactly what you cannot put in that grant.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times people miss that because they don't thoroughly read through, and then they put something in there that wasn't supposed to, and then they get denied,
Mm,
and then they wonder why, and then the funder will say, "Well, go back and read the directions."
right.
Because that must have been something clear in those directions.
Right.
And so usually that's the case of anyone getting denied. It's because it was in the directions.
I love it. I love it. I love you, Queen, for just being able to come on and give us this information because we really need it. We might have to have you back on to go over the same information as well, or bring you to the penthouse in person. Um,
Oh, that'll be wonderful.
yeah, um, uh, that's really it for me. Did anybody else have any questions or concerns? I don't want to hold you up too much longer. I don't know. everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone. Just reach out to with my number. My daughter can give you my contact information as well. I hate to run. I do have another meeting
Yes,
that
ma'am.
has actually already started, and I'm gonna be like 30 minutes late to it already.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Now,
But
We
that's okay.
appreciate
I
you.
appreciate you even
But I
more.
appreciate it. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, ma'am. I'll talk to you shortly.
Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah, so if anybody have any questions or concerns for Dr. Jessica, you can also leave them in the chat, or you can just send me your questions or concerns, and I'll make sure she gets them. Um, I want to make sure that we have enough time for an in-person brainstorming session as well. So I appreciate all of you guys. I don't want to hold you guys up too much longer. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or concerns for me as well, as far as upcoming opportunities, and just our different programs that we have, different events and activities that we have coming up. Please, please, please let me know. I'm actually going to also post our mob links far as our homepage. If you know anybody that would love to become a member, mentor, advisor, or an affiliate, like I was saying last month or last week, um, every single one of you guys, has the potential to become an affiliate as well. Every single one of someone who owns a business who need, some type of resource. So make sure you guys get them our links, have them RSVP, have them fill out our applications, so we can just reach out to them and, set up a call and figure out how we can actually build um, and make sure you guys send out our invites to our brainstorming sessions every single Wednesday at 6 o'clock virtually. But if they want to come out, if we have a extra +1 or +2, or if you are already a member and you want to invite someone out to our in-person member only sessions, let me know. Have them RSVP. Also send them out the application to actually apply for the membership so we can set up a call with them and see exactly what type of challenges and what type of value we can actually bring them. That's what it's all about. I was just, in a business meeting yesterday, talking about how I really didn't want to be a part of, and we don't really want to be a part of anything that we can't bring value to. So that's the whole point, figuring out how we can bring value to each other and make it make sense. So I appreciate you guys for hopping on another successful brainstorming session. Happy win day to every single one of you guys. And I'll talk to you guys shortly. You guys be safe. And again, let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Shoot me a text, or if you have a WhatsApp chat already set up, please send me a message on WhatsApp, and I'll talk to you guys shortly.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You as well. You as well.